is the seventh in a series of videos aimed at assisting APS members with how to apply for FAIAP distinctions. The information in this video is intended to help explain certain key aspects of completing a distinctions application and does not replace the need to read the application documents. In this tutorial, I will revisit what is meant when I refer to cumulative levels between distinctions. I will cover what you need to fine-tune on your Salon records before extracting the results you need for your application, how to sort and select results for possible inclusion, and copying selections to your application form. The aim of this tutorial is to give you a methodical approach to filling in this form with Salon results that fulfill the criteria for the distinction you seek. You will have hopefully maintained a spreadsheet of your Salon results. This will ideally have been set up such that copying and pasting results to your application form is straightforward. For this tutorial, I will be demonstrating using the basic spreadsheet from the earlier tutorial on record keeping. Firstly, let's just quickly run back over what I mean when I say that a level is cumulative with other levels. Cumulative means that the results of the relevant distinctions levels build on that of an earlier level or levels. In other words, you can relist and count results between the cumulative levels. In fact, what many people do is start with the finalised application from the previous level and simply add the extra results that they need to reach the criteria of the higher level. So to clarify which distinctions are cumulative with each other, EFIAP continues on from AFIAP, so you can relist and count anything you used on your AFIAP application when applying for EFIAP. You must then start afresh with new results for EFIAP Bronze. You can have the same images continuing to gain new results, but you cannot count any Salon result for the Bronze level that came from a Salon with a closing date that was prior to the date on your EFIAP certificate. It is important to make sure it is clear on your Salon records which Salons you can count for EFIAP Bronze onwards based on your EFIAP certificate date. The 4 levels from Bronze to Platinum are cumulative, so you can list any of the results you gained after your EFIAP certificate date on any of the Bronze, Silver, Gold or Platinum levels to meet the relevant criteria. Here again, people will often start with their Bronze application or the highest one immediately before the level they are seeking and simply add more results to complete what they need for the next level. The next cumulative set is the Diamond levels. These only count results gained in Salons with a closing date that is after the date on the EFIAP Platinum certificate. But from there, the Diamond levels build upwards in a cumulative fashion again. If you have marked on your records what has already been included on your application for the lower level in a cumulative set, then you have a massive head start on selecting the extra results from your records to add to your application without duplication. I'm now going to walk you through the selection process to build your list on page C, but I must emphasize that before we start, it is imperative that the first thing you do is to make a copy of your Salon Results spreadsheet and clearly name it as your working document for the distinction. Likewise, if you're seeking a higher level of a cumulative set of distinctions and choose to start with the results you had on your previous level, copy the results from your previous application to the latest FAIAP application form and name it as your first draft application. I now have open a spreadsheet of pre-filled Salon results that we're going to use for this demonstration. Firstly, start by removing the Salon results you cannot count. So if you are doing EFIAP levels Bronze through to Platinum, remove the rows of results for any Salon that had a closing date that was prior to the date of your EFIAP certificate. Likewise, for diamond levels, remove any salon results that are prior to the date on your EFIAP Platinum certificate. If you have results on your list that are from international salons that did not have fiat patronage, then remove these, as they cannot be counted. Likewise, if you have any national results from exhibitions that only count Australian entries, nationals should ideally be covered on a separate spreadsheet, but if they're here, you need to remove them now. Remove any salon entries for which you have not yet got results. If you're close to the closing date for lodgement of your application, you will also need to remove salon results for which the FIAP salon file has not yet been lodged. Now sort your list by the acceptance column, this being the column to the left, and remove all the listed entries that did not gain an acceptance. So to do this, to resort, put your cursor in any of the cells, the active cells, come up to Data, hit Sort, and it will actually appear a little differently depending on which version of Excel you're using. I'm going to clear the previous sort criteria, and I'm going to hit the plus symbol, and I'm going to come up to column, and I'm going to sort according to the acceptance column and click OK. That will sort all your Y symbols for yes, it was accepted, from the ones where you don't have anything filled in. Now, I've actually already pre-culled these in this spreadsheet, but it will look something like this, and that's a set as if that was a set of entries that have not yet been judged. So in either instance, they will sort into a block where you can come up to Edit and you can delete those rows. This will leave you with a set of data that's all been accepted and all within a time range where you are able to count them. You can sort and select by up to 3 different criteria at a time, and if at any stage you actually want to return to your original sort order where the salons are listed as a group, sort by the FIAP salon number, because that will put the salons all back together again. And you might indeed want to then put the titles alphabetically. Coming back to sort, I'll just show you that. Sort. I'm going to clear that criteria. I'm going to say sort. I want it by the FIAP number. I then want it to look at the titles. So I will then put it in here and say image title, and then click OK. And it's now put everything in salon order and with the titles in alphabetical order within each of those salons. I'm now back up the top of the page. If you are seeking a higher cumulative level and wish to use your previous level as your starting base, you need to mark out the acceptances that you have already put on the application to ensure you don't duplicate. Now, whilst that is already marked and this particular spreadsheet has been set up as if it's a silver application and a B has been placed in the bronze column for every result that is already on the bronze application, which we're going to start with, then I would sort according to that column. So put my cursor in one of the fields, hit sort, remove the previous criteria, add the criteria, ask it to sort by the bronze column, and it's now going to put all those up the top of the page. I can then select all these cells, all these rows I should say, coming on the left hand side, and I won't colour them all now, and I put them in a colour that just makes them super obvious. It's just a convenience thing. So I would do that for all of the ones where that B is showing in the bronze column. And then that makes sure that I immediately notice that they are ones that are already on the spreadsheet that I'm about to fill in. Don't remove any of this data that you've just highlighted because it's still eligible, and you may end up shuffling what you do and don't count, and may indeed, as you go along, unhighlight or re-highlight some of these as if you choose to remove or put them back into the final application. Leaving them there enables you to reselect them if you change your mind. You now have your list of eligible results ready for use for your selection process. For some people, the list that remains may be very close to what they actually require with just a few spares. Such people are pretty much ready to copy across their results to their application and simply cull some of the results if they're excessive. Culling will be covered in a separate tutorial. Many others will have many results from which to choose, so should proceed as follows. AFIAP applicants will of course not have any highlighting on their form at this point in time, and neither will EFIAP Bronze applicants or EFIAP Diamond 1 applicants, because they're all not going to be relying on using any results from a previous application. The next step is specifically for AFIAP applicants. They must prove that they have been entering salons with fair patronage with success for at least a full 12 months. So they will need to sort their list quickly back into Salon Order according to the fiat number, which will always put the earliest date first, and they should select either from their first salon or a salon that is at least 12 months prior to the 28th of February closing date. So I'm going to select this result here, which includes those 4 cells, and I'm going to copy them. If you had an award here, you would obviously include that. I'm going to open my spreadsheet. I'm going to put the title of work, my cursor in the title of work, and I'm going to go Control V or Command V on a Mac, and there I have my first result already in place. And I obviously need to come back and have a quick look. That is a digital result, so I put an X in the digital column. As you copy each result to your application, you'll need to keep track of this on your Salon records sheet, just so that you don't duplicate. So coming back here, I would now select this row, which is the one I've just copied across. I'm going to put it in a different colour to the other ones just so that I keep them apart, and I will colour it so that I know it's already on the sheet. AFIAP and EFIAP applicants should now sort according to section so that all the print acceptances are listed together, because it will sort this column alphabetically. From there they should pick at least one print acceptance for each title that gained print acceptances. If you have options for the same image, then vary your choices to be broad in your salons and countries. Remember, it's not the number of print acceptances that you need, but the number of different images that have gained a print acceptance. So ensure you have the minimum required number for the distinction you seek, plus some spares if you have them. Here I have done that sort for you. If you scroll down, you can see in this section column, I'm now looking at the list which shows the print acceptances and print in colour or print in mono or traditional, etc. I can also see that some of these are already on an application. So if this was, for instance, an EFIAP application and those highlighted results were already on my AFIAP application, I'd know not to choose those ones again, and it's very quick and easy to then select the extra ones that I might wish to add to the new application. So here you can see I've now filled in all those print acceptances. I've marked them in the print column, and for the sake of this exercise I've just simply brought them all across And if you look back at the record sheet, I've highlighted them so that I know that they're on my form already. The next step applies to all applicants. You should now sort according to the awards column. And you already know the sort process, so I won't repeat that. And pick up any of the awards that are not already highlighted and paste them across to your application, as I have now done here. All applicants need to identify which images they will be submitting to FIAP. So now sort the results according to image title. AFIAP and EFIAP applicants need to pick images that have at least 3 acceptances each, remembering that you can't count more than one in a circuit for this criteria. Copy and paste these 3 acceptances for your chosen images from your list across to your application. EFIAP and EFIAP levels need to include awarded images, but these will already be on your form. However, it's good to have a few acceptances for each of them. Now let's look for titles. For this, you can either have your list sorted according to image title, or if you know that you've already got every title from a previous level listed with at least one acceptance per title, you might want to sort by your new title column, which is what I've done here, so that it puts all the new titles up at the top and I'm not looking between the new titles and old titles. Copy across at least one acceptance of each of these titles. If you're after an application which has got a requirement for a lot of acceptances, you may simply wish to pick all of these acceptances with new titles up and copy them across and cull them later, or you might choose to select them as you go. So here's the form now with all those extra acceptances for new titles included. I haven't selected all of them. I've been selective as I've gone along, but I have put in a lot. And I've also gone back and brought across the results from what would have been the previous application. I've kept these highlighted in yellow just so that it's obvious for now. But this is all from the yellow down is all our new data that we're bringing across to add in the situation where we've got a consecutive level in being developed here in an application form. As you can see, that's taken us up to 343 acceptances, and I'm building this as if it was a silver level, which means that we would be ultimately seeking 300 acceptances along with the other criteria. So I'm already at, and in fact over that by more than I need. If I wasn't, what my next step would be to return to this form, and noting that all along the way, every time I've selected, I've highlighted in blue what I've already put on the form. I can go back and pick up some extra acceptances. So returning to this form, the next step, of course, is to look at what criteria has been met and what hasn't been. But initially, I'm going to need to sort this form completely with all of its data. For this, I'm no longer going to include this left-hand column in my selection, because ultimately I do in fact want this to be in Salon Order. So I'll select the first cell there, I will come down to the bottom, I'll select the last cell over on the right hand side here. So you can see I've excluded this column so that that numbering doesn't get impacted, and I'm going to sort this data, and I'm going to sort it according to the FIAP number, which as you can see is in this column here. That gives me the ability to have a look at exactly what salons I've counted. So I can go through and count my salons. The only way to count your countries is by having it in Salon Order, and that's because of the circuits, because you can only count one country from a circuit. So if you were to look down through this list, and we'll just find one of those. Here's the bicontinental. I could only either count Greece or United Arab Emirates from this particular circuit, so I couldn't count two countries there. If that's all scattered through your list, you can't actually tell it's part of a circuit, so always count your countries this way. Again, you can count your salons, remembering that a circuit counts as one salon when you're counting the salons. So all of those 4 salons in that Trierenberg super circuit would be 1. Again, the Holland circuit, which has 5 salons, but you would count it as 1 because they're circuits. So if I was counting the number of salons, I would count it in this order too. Counting the titles, I obviously need to sort this list into title order, and I would count down my titles. So just quickly revisiting our salon records, if we needed to pick up extra results under any criteria, we can always do it based on a sort of the table according to that criteria. So, for instance, if we didn't have enough salons represented, we could sort according to the Fiat number and go looking for any salon that might not already be highlighted and quickly grab a result from it. So, for instance, this salon here, the Cheltenham Salon in England, isn't represented, so I might pick that result up and add it to my form. Likewise, if I found that there was particular countries that I hadn't included and I needed more countries, I would still keep that in order of salon, just so that I'm not inadvertently picking up one that's already covered by a circuit. And I would look through my list and look for one that hasn't already been highlighted. And scrolling down, say for instance, maybe Spain mightn't have been included, and I would pick up that result and I would put it across onto my form. Likewise, if we know that we've already got the titles all represented because we did that via our previous sort, and indeed all our other criteria should have been met because we've targeted our selection based on our criteria. So now that we have completed bringing across the data that we believe will form our final application, I've now selected all the cells excluding this left-hand numbering column, and I'm going to sort this into title order. This gives me the ability to firstly check that I do in fact have enough different titles, and indeed when we finish the culling process we will come back and we'll put the numbering in this title count column, but we won't do that until we've finished any culling that might be needed. Looking down this list, if this was going to be a EFIAP silver application, we have in fact got 343 acceptances where there's a need for 300. However, I always talk up to 30 spares, so we probably need to cull about a dozen of these acceptances just so that it's not an excessive number on the application. I'm going to cover culling in a separate tutorial, but you can see here where we're up to now, and this is very, very close to complete.